for anyone who doesn't know you, Nick, can you give us a little bit of an introduction? Who are you?
Who am I? I'm a crazy guy who has a passion for food insecurity and building a network of charity farms to provide free food every week to feed Australian families and Australian children every week for free. I'm a hospitality lifer. I lost my job in the COVID event when that rolled out in 2020. So I pivoted to full-time in the charity. All the produce goes to our charity partners for free. So the farms that we have at the moment are our market garden farm, but we want to get into beef, fish, egg, and other protein farms as well. So we have the full staples, so then we can actually produce enough food then to make our own cold packed, ready to eat meals and send them out to charities. Unfortunately, with the cost of living crisis, we lost all of our farms because of donations crashed. So we're reinvigorating our dynamic of how we fund what we do. So I guess that's a little bit about me. I'm also the president of the Kombucha Chamber of Commerce. I'm in BNI, and I do a lot of business networking.
And so did you have no experience before in non-for-profits? No experience?
I made it up as I went along. So the good thing about hospitality is you get to learn about people. You get to learn systems and processes.
So what was the mindset shift that made that happen?
Well, I think one, I lost my job. So the mindset had to change really quickly because I was doing the charity with a 6-day-a-week full-time job. And I was working 6 days a week. So I was pretty much burning the candle at every end. So COVID came along, that killed everything. So we had to shut everything down. And because I was working then full-time, I didn't have a full-time job to distract me. I was able to do a heap of work really quickly. Now I can actually just focus on this one thing, and I achieved massive milestones of getting that farm operational, which was really great.
But what was it like? How on earth were you working 6 days a week, 10 hours a day, and having time to set up multiple sites, have volunteers? What was your role in this?
There's a fine line between visionary and insane, I think. Because in hospitality, I was an event manager, so I had a bit of flexibility to do a few things. Like I'd go after work to do the watering and prepare everything. I organized everything. Because of my skills in event management, that's component management and resource deployment. So I would have everything planned.
So how were you able to go from idea to having sites with 30 volunteers on the weekend?
So I came up with the crazy idea back in 2010. I was watching a show called Hugh Fenley Whittingstall's River Cottage. And so he was a chef in London. He had his own cooking TV show. He wanted to do something different. And at the end of the season, they had a big lunch in the field. And I was like, I want to do what this guy does. And I was like, let's create a network of charity farms to actually feed people in need on this style. I had the idea, put it on paper, talked to the boss. He thought I was mental. Then I went back and I tore up my beautiful garden in my house. So I tore it all up and I put a farm in it. And then I did all the processes. I learned how the farm works, the planting, the seeds, the sowing, all the machinery. I did a permaculture design course. I did online market gardening courses. I connected with local charities. So from paper, people can't visualize it. And when they come to the farm, they get it.
Yeah, so did you have volunteers running the social media, or you?
I did everything. So I'm the everything person. So I did all social media, did all the planning, did all the landscape, did all the ordering equipment, did my full-time job, did the work.
So it was so how did you just manage that time? Okay, so it was very messy.
It was a very messy behind the scenes.
And to get people volunteering is not an easy thing.
No.
At all.
We were showing the image of the farm, just like the photo behind me, so they can see what to expect. So each stage and each day I would take photos and put that on social media, link it to other organizations in the community and get the word out. And people started coming along and seeing what we were talking about. And when you're passionate, you just make it happen. These things started moving around, had a lot of synchronicities. All this law of attraction stuff is so on target. There was one day I remember I spat the dummy and kicked all the toys out of the pram. I was like, this isn't working, I'm done, I'm over it. And this old guy walks around the corner and says, you know what, I've been walking past here every few weeks and I love what you do. I just want to tell you you're doing a really great job. I was like, all right, the universe heard me. I just needed a pat in the back. I was like, get back to it, cities. A lot of people are very keen on supporting this concept, and they also saw the need as well. So our idea is, if there's a region that needs it, we put a number of farms in there, we grow it, we distribute it, and make sure everyone's taken care of on a local level.
Yeah, nice. So, would you call yourself ambitious?
I would call myself a little bit too ambitious.
What would you define as being ambitious?
Well, you know how when you have a slice of cake, you politely have a bite with a spoon and you eat a bit? I'll put the whole piece of cake in my mouth. That's what I say is ambitious.
All right, so you're like that.
You put the whole thing in your mouth and you can't chew. And that's what I've done. So, and you just deal with it, you work through it, and you take your learnings every day, every week, and you reflect on things, and then you put improvement systems in. It's the same with business. It's the same thing as charity. So it's about systems, it's about reflection, it's about improvement, and it's making sure that your network understands what you're doing and you continue to support.
Yeah. So in a charity, but like, I guess, yeah, it's very much business. Like the donations are your clients as such. So they got to be fulfilled in that donation. That donation's got to mean something to them. And that meaning behind it is your product, is the service of the charity. So yeah, no difference from any other business with a profit and loss, except for that
we have a board, we have accounts, we have to do a financial audit every year. We do it regardless, just to show that we're taking the accounts seriously, because we're dealing with other people's money. So it's like, okay, well, how do we run a charity? Well, we have to make sure it's transparent. We have to make sure that it's all audited and we do the right thing. It's not our money, it's other people's money. And the reason why we attract people is because of our social media documents what we do. So, you know, when you start increasing and scaling, you start getting people to do certain jobs, because you can't do everything. In the beginning, you have to do 20 jobs. As you scale, you reduce that and you focus on what you can do.
What's the offer that you present?
So for them, so the board can't get paid because it's a charity. They use it on their resume so they can look good. It's connections, money, advice, and making sure that you're doing the right thing, because they have a financial liability to make sure that charity works out well. So it's to make sure that the founder doesn't run the whole thing as a dictatorship and keep all the money for themselves, because you're not allowed to do that, and you have to do it properly. And the boards that we've had have all been fantastic. Okay. And through LinkedIn, I was going, look, I'm looking for somebody on the board. I'll know somebody with certain skills. I said, would you like to be on the board with our position? So they would come on and say yes. So every cycle when we get new people, I will always find somebody to sit on the board.
Oh, wow. Okay, so how do you deal with rejection?
I don't have time to be sorry about rejections. I've got to go on to the next thing. So I can sit home and have a cry all day if I wanted to, but that means 20,000 things won't get done. This time it's like, okay, you're not interested, move on to the next one. Let's keep it rolling. I've got things to do. I've got social media posts to get out. And I would have a list of 4 or 5 people anyway. So if some of them didn't, then it wasn't too much of an issue. And also you got to know that some people aren't interested in what you do. So you got to understand this before you get into the game like that, because you can't eyes wide open and be disappointed at every turn. It won't work. There's limitations. There's limitations to donations. There's limitations to people. And at the end of the day, you're on this by yourself.
Yeah.
It's your single journey. No one's coming for you. You'll get your little supporters, you get your champions, and you get people coming along, hey, that's really great. But everyone's got their own thing to deal with and everyone's busy themselves. So once you start realizing these things yourself, you have a greater understanding and you won't get so stressed when people say no. When your donations are lacking, you start going, okay, these are the things I've got to deal with. How can I work around those and mitigate those issues and find the people that I need to, who are attracted to this, and work with them? And that's what we did.
So it's basically like, if you're taking this personal, because it's not a personal decision, it's like asking them if they want to spend their time. It's actually personal to them, not to you, right? So taking someone else's personal response as something that reflects anything on yourself is just a waste of energy for the most part, in terms of if you're trying to achieve a goal. If they say no, then what are you going to do? You got to move on. You got to go out and get them.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not about you being rejected by them. It's like these people are not in a position to help. Go on to the next person, and you just got to keep on moving.
Yeah. It's worthwhile going and making those connections. And the way that I kind of seen the networking and going out is kind of like it's honest gambling. Like you just never know what that person knows or what they can unlock for your world.
It's a small world after all, and you can bump into one person that will change your entire destiny. And you won't know until you go to that meeting. You won't know until you go to the network event. You won't know until you go and connect with other people, because there's always 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, okay.
And look, I'm in BNI, which is a weekly business networking group. We've been there for 3 years. We deliberately went in there so we can make connections with businesses. So we have a product that we sell, Fundraising, which is coffee. Each bag makes us $10 for 10 meals that funds our farms.
How do you know if they're going to be a good fit?
I don't know. Well, you look at the resume, look at the skills, you meet them, you talk to them. You know, there's a couple that I just joke with, and we got the same humor, and it worked really well, and they're on the job and they became the best supervisors I've ever had. So for me, it's about the skills on the resume, what they've done, what their interest is, their personality, and just getting a feel for them. You get a feel for their energy, and if you don't, you will after 6 months know who the person is. So depending on what kind of role you're putting them in, you can at least have some mitigation programs in case you got the wrong one. But in most cases, I haven't had that many duds. You can teach anyone how to do anything.
Yeah.
It's the personality and how they get on with others is the key component.
Okay.
If they're not interested in being there, they're not going to be a good employee.
Yeah. And you talked about studying permaculture and doing online market garden courses.
Yeah, I'm glad I did it. It was a great experience. This is because we wanted to make sure that people in need are getting good food. And at the end of the day, they're human beings. They don't deserve slop just because they're in need. Let's actually give them some dignity and give them a real meal.
So for people who maybe not be familiar with permaculture, what's permaculture?
So permaculture is a design system incorporating a number of, 12 principles. It's designing an integrated ecosystem on your property. Habitat, different species, all moving and working towards the common goal of regenerating the soil and adding in community, technology, and all these other aspects as well, for a combined ecosystem approach. And I think that's basically how I classify permaculture. I think it's the regenerating the soil, putting the nutrients back in, and all the goodness. So with permaculture, you use animals as well. You got all these animals and the insects then, which is your beneficial insects, takes away the pests. So you're creating an ecosystem approach. Your waterways, storm damage, flooding, ranges, natural trees to bring in certain animals that attract other animals. That's how I think of permaculture.
Okay, so an ecosystem approach. So in your farming, it makes sense, right? Because you got crops, insects, you got sun, you got water. Are you using permaculture in the way that you're structuring the management?
Yeah, with all the principles in permaculture, we're trying to use them in every aspect of the organization.
Oh, perfect. So permaculture, not just a gardening tool that can create amazing food, but also a tool that you can then help create community organizations. Imagining even if you had a for-profit, same processes that you're going through and organizing with resource management can still be applied.
Exactly, they certainly can. Yeah.
Okay, so where to from now for you, Nick, in terms of this 2026? What's your plans?
Well, our plans now is to build a 10-acre youth training farm in Logan at Youth Enterprise Trust that is on the corner of Tamborine, Logan, and the Gold Coast. They deal with disengaged young people. They're like a youth camp program. Yeah. Leadership. We've come in for 10 acres to do agriculture, and we've spoken with our Department of Training to offer Cert 2 horticulture as an income stream, and also a way to give back to the kids on the site. From this site, we'll be looking at creating over 150,000 meals a year, delivering up to 40 young people trained, doing conservation along the riverbank, ecosystem, syntropic farm, if we can flowers, and also aquaponics if we can get it into the tree line system as well. That's the next thing that we're working on. So what we're doing is we have a sponsor a bed program where individuals and businesses can sponsor a bed from $47 a month. We're looking for 400 full beds to be sponsored so we can start that site on July 1 if we can get it before end of financial year. We sell coffee online, so 250 bags, 500 gram bags, and a kilo of grain and whole bean. It's just a different way of asking for funding as opposed to making a donation, so you're getting something in return.
Yeah.
We've also got the Feed Australia Challenge, which is something that I created from the 2018 bushfire event, which the idea is we want to attract 100,000 Aussies to donate only $3.70 a month to fund a farm every single month. And what they get for that, 2 staff employed and training for young people from every farm. What those donors get is full financial transparency, so they know how much each farm will cost. They get to vote which farm is built next, so they get to actually direct the charity, and then they get to sit into our live stream operations meetings to see how we organize ourselves and we spend the money as well. And then we are now looking at coffee vodka and coffee liqueur products in a different market. If I can sell 100,000 coffee liqueurs, I can fund Logan for 3 years.
Okay.
So it's a different mindset about how do we fund as opposed to give me a donation. So we think about how we're doing it. So we need a variety of different income streams and ways that we can fund them. So these are the things that we're looking for. So 2026, the year of the horse, is going to be a massive year for us if we can get all these things done. If I can get at least 2 of these projects going, I'm going to be happy as.
Okay, so if people want to check out the mini farm project, then they can go to mfp.org.au, and all those options are up there where they can buy coffee, they can sponsor a bed, they can sign up for the $3.70 a month feed program.
Yeah. We want you to help seed fund this farm. Give us a big fat check and know that we're going to be able to self-fund in 3 years once that money runs out. That it's not a 3-year project. This is going to be a 5, 10, 15, 20-year project because of these extra things that we're doing to solidify the income over a longer period as opposed to only focusing on the next week where the money comes from.
So this is really changing the way that people think about charities and donations completely, because now you're talking about offering competitive, profitable services and products that then that profit goes back into the sustainability and the future development of these charitable enterprises. So it's basically being, commercial in every sense of the word for a cause.
Yep.
That's fantastic. That's amazing.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. So that's really cool. I really wish you all the best in this, Nick. We'll have a link, so if anyone wants to check out what you're doing, they can go through and find out and connect with you if they want to volunteer, or if they will have any ideas or anything that they want to do, buy coffee, sponsor any of that, they can go through and do that. I wonder, as a leaving bit of advice, if someone else has a big vision, maybe they too think of themselves as a crazy, ambitious fool, what advice could you give this person?
I would say, 1, you're going to be dead longer than you're alive. So go out with no regrets, because if you don't do what you are burning inside your soul to do, you will have a regret on your deathbed. 2, go craft your idea that another person can understand it. Use ChatGPT or AI, whatever you need to do to model it, and then go and start talking to people. Go to somebody else. Go to networking groups, go online to business groups, go find other not-for-profit organizations or support groups and go, hey, I've got this idea. Do the research. You've got to do your market testing. You've got to do your research. You've got to do your price point analysis. You've got to know that there's actually a market for what you want to do, as opposed to it just being, fairy cakes and fluff. That's something that you want to do. Is there a need for it? Can you get it funded? Do people understand it? Go out and make the first call.
It seems like humbleness has to be a superpower. You have to be willing to just take that feedback. You have to be willing to just roll with it. Because at the end of the day, good or bad feedback, it only makes you stronger. You take on board that negative feedback, make a change. That's a good thing. You get compliments about what you're doing well, then okay, well, that I don't need to change it. I can just keep doing that the way that it is. So good or bad, it's all positive if you know how to take it.
And look, we don't know everything, and we're not an island, and we need other people to help and guide us along the way. Don't stop.
Yeah.
Keep going. If you stop, you're going to regret it.
Yeah, where there's a will, there's a way. And if you've got a good idea, if the good idea actually is there to help others and support others, well, then those others are probably going to be interested in it. Like, you're probably going to get some buy-in there. Like, it might not be the person who's struggling right now, but maybe there's someone who grew up in a home that was struggling and seeing other people struggle, right? So there's all these other connections that might not be apparent when you first think of your idea, but as you go out and talk to people, this is going to illuminate and make that path more visible. And so you're not meant to know it. You're meant to figure it out.
The first step, and then your journey, and you find out what happens along the way, and you adapt as you go, and that's all you can do.
Yeah, cool. Well, thank you so much for having this chat with me, Nick. I am really inspired by what you've been able to achieve in under a decade, and I'm really excited. I just think it's absolutely beautiful what you're doing. It makes me so excited to see you off on this endeavor. And I know we talked about this, right? You get lots of well wishes, but it still doesn't help you, hit the ground running. So I guess I'm just being another one of those, but I really appreciate what you're doing and what you've been able to put together, because I do think that you sharing this journey, doing this journey, gives a lot of feedback to other people who can then step up and help you and support you, or do their own thing and take what you've learned and what you've been able to develop and do it themselves. So I think the world's only going to be a more positive place because of this effort that you're putting in.
Definitely.
So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
No worries.